It's the busiest airport in the country, and today the Transportation Safety Board highlighted some flaws they believe could be fatal here on the south end of Pearson International Airport, right where that plane is landing. In 2012 all the way to 2017, there were 27 incursions, and several of those meant planes that had just landed nearly came into contact with other flights that were taking off.
The Transportation Safety Board of Canada has identified a troubling pattern at Pearson International.
Inside a 100-page report, the TSB outlines what it believes are design issues with two parallel runways at Pearson's South Complex. Much of the issue is with a rapid exit taxiway that directs planes that have just landed into a parallel runway where other flights are taking off. It's at that point where on 27 occasions planes were in a position they weren't cleared to be in.
The distance from the time they exit the landing runway to the stop line so they don't incur on the other runway is quite short.
The Transportation Safety Board says out of the top 100 airports they looked at around the world, Pearson is the only one with this type of design. The incidents occurred despite instructions from air traffic control to stop before entering the second runway. Even though they were instructed to stop, the report says there were 3 separate occasions pilots rolled right into the parallel runway without braking at all. Though according to the TSB, it gets worse.
When you look at them all as a whole, the timing, I would say, is the more significant ones. The ones where everything seems to line up. Perhaps they didn't make the runway surface, but if they hadn't stopped, if ATC hadn't intervened, that timing was perfect, that those two presented the most serious risk of collision.
The incidents led to one aircraft having to abort takeoff. Another plane had to execute a missed approach.
And in the end, air traffic control interventions, that last line of defense. So luckily here, in these cases, the last line of defense did prevail.
Should luck ever be a factor here when we're dealing with people on passenger aircrafts?
The answer is no. The idea is when we know there are hazards that can be mitigated, that steps can be taken to reduce the risk of an accident, then we need to take them.
The TSB is recommending that all aircraft controllers issue clearer safety instructions to flight crews. They're also asking Transport Canada and the FAA to adjust a pilot's post-landing check routine so they only take place after an aircraft is clear of both active runways. And they're calling on Pearson Airport to change the unique layout of the taxiway and runways. A statement from the Greater Toronto Airport Authority in part says the GTAA is reviewing the recommendations of the Transportation Safety Board. We welcome the findings and we have fully participated in the review. In 2013, the GTAA did its own safety study, though the TSB believes the improvements made have been insufficient.
There was a drop in the number of runway incursions, but then we started to see them climb again. The ultimate solution is a physical change because that will definitely reduce the risk of runway incursions in that area of the airport.
As it stands today, the runways here on the south end of Pearson International Airport actually meet regulations. There's nothing in the TSB's report that forces them to make any changes. We reached out to the Greater Toronto Airport Authority today. They declined a request for an on-camera interview.